Hello, my name is Karina, and we are here for mediation. We have here Mr. Smith and Mr. Sato. We want to welcome you to our mediation today. Our purpose of the mediation is to help you facilitate communication between both parties. We have forms that we'll fill out at the end if we hopefully come to an agreement today, or if we need another session.
Just a reminder that everything said in mediation is confidential. So we're just going to be sure to not say anything that goes on in here outside of this meeting. So we're going to give you both a chance to speak, say what you feel the issue is and how that makes you feel. And yeah.
Okay, so why don't we start with Mr. Smith, and Mr. Sato, we're gonna let Mr. Smith just speak freely without interruption, if that's possible, just so we can hear both sides, and then we'll take it to you. So why don't you begin?
So hello everybody, my name is Mr. Smith, Dan Smith. So I've been, from his perspective, I've been, how do you call it, taken in by the police because supposedly he said I'm a drug seller, a drug dealer. I don't know how he got that. So that I have that in my record now. I don't know if from now on, like if he decides to put charges on me, that's gonna like give me, I guess, an extension in jail or prison. I don't know. So I guess I'm here because supposedly I was using a weed killer to kill, the weeds that come out of the cement, and somehow a little bottle like sprayed over or something to his trees and killed all his fruit trees, and supposedly some fish that I've never seen in his pond. It's such a relatively small pond. Now I'm going through a divorce. My kids might stay with her wife, and I really don't want that. I want to be able to see my kids. I try to go over and talk to him, but I got kind of his son, try to like fight me. I don't know, his martial arts. No racism against, because they're Japanese, but his kid somehow did that, and I was like, okay. I wanted to punch him, but I didn't. He's a young guy, and I'm going through a lot, so I'm just resorting to this now. That's what the DA told me to do.
That's all you wanted to say?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll move on to Mr. Sato.
So, first of all, we never reported anything about drugs or anything. I don't know why you have the idea that it is us that called the police, because it is not. However, my father has had issues with the chemicals, not only a matter of our plants dying, but in our fish dying, but my father has had issues as an old man, basically needing to get treatment because you sprayed the chemicals on our yard. The fish have died. They're very meaningful to us. Basically, we have them as representation for my mother in particular, who was married to my father, who died recently. That's irreplaceable. It's tough living next to someone who has no regard for his neighbor at all, and I don't have a lot of time to go to court and things like that. And the DA said basically it would be best for us to deal with it here. So I'm hoping that we can get to some sort of agreement here, because for the reason that I want to be able to replace the fruit trees that I've had and that my father had, and the fish. I'm not looking for money. I just want to replace what is gone now, and that's what I want to do.
Well, thank you both for your time. So I have a couple questions, and I'm sure Brandy does too. Mr. Smith, where exactly did you obtain the chemical you're using to kill the weeds on the floor, on cement? You said.
I just got it from a supply store like Lowe's.
Okay.
I just had to go get it. I just sprayed it. So I mean, I can't stop that little spray from going over, but I don't think that little spray is gonna kill a whole plantation of trees and some fish underwater.
Oh, right. And how exactly? I know some have like a little gun, and then some you can like attach a whole spray thing. How exactly was the spraying done to the trees?
It has
To your weeds?
yeah. So it has like a little small tube gun. So you have to pump it to get pressure, and then you just kind of throw it under. So I'm really not sure how that happened.
Okay. And then what's the diameter of the spray? Like, is it a quick spray or a flat spray?
Just like a little quick stream. So it depends how much you pump it, I guess. I'm not
Okay.
too sure.
I'm just trying to understand how far the stream can go and how wide it can go to see how much you're covering with one
Yeah.
spray.
That's not the biggest point, but he's come over, he's threatened us, he's accosted
I have
our
not threatened you.
garage.
I came over to
He-
talk to you,
he hasn't
and I got
even-
threatened.
Okay. Well, we agreed that it was
He
one
knocked
person
over
at
our
a time.
camera.
Mr. Soto, we agreed it was one person at a time. If you guys feel the need to have separate meetings, we can go ahead and do that. Mr. Smith, he is talking right now. We're gonna give him the time. Mr. Soto, please go ahead.
Well, one thing is, we had a camera in the backyard as well, and we noticed that he had knocked it over, essentially. The camera doesn't work anymore, and he also approached me and my father's garage. He didn't assault me, but he did threaten me, and that's worrisome. Living next door to somebody with anger issues like that.
Threatening in what way?
Just yelling at me, sometimes it was even incomprehensible. And this is scary for my father because my father doesn't speak any English. All he sees is anger.
I see that your father and you are scared, can become scared when, someone comes into your property and decides to scream at you. I can see where you're coming
It's
from.
tough.
So, Mr. Smith, do you feel like maybe with the language barrier there may have been some misconstrued emotions between you and his father?
There might be. I mean, we might not be able to click as much. Try to actually understand each other just because of that. But a reference to the camera. So the camera's pointing to my bathroom. So that's socially awkward. So I'm not gonna lie. I did get my boob and I tried to twist it so it won't look like that. I felt uncomfortable and that's invasion of my privacy.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I probably should have just gone over it, but I did, and then I felt threatened also because his son was doing all that martial arts stuff.
I don't know why he's doing this. Why he's trying to defend his actions. I mean, it seems racially motivated to me. What do you have against me and my father?
I don't have nothing against you. I don't know why you're freaking telling me to pay all this stuff when I don't have to.
Well, it just so happened that after you sprayed your chemicals, my plants died, the koi fish in the pond died.
So let's go back to this chemical. I'm really interested because it is commercially, it's sold in a commercial level, and you say you would buy it in a big store like Lowe's.
Yeah.
Have you looked into it to see if possibly there was an ingredient there or anything that could have caused so much damage if indeed it was the spray that did this?
No, I have not looked into it, but I mean it's a weed killer. It can't kill a freaking tree.
Okay.
Well, it did.
Well, you guys probably killed that tree because I don't know what the hell happened.
So, were there any issues with the tree before he sprayed?
No,
No,
not a
at
single
all.
issue. We've been taking care of it all the time.
Bullshit.
Okay.
So, how old were the trees?
Excuse me, give me a second.
Sorry.
Mr. Smith, we're going to refrain from using inappropriate language that can possibly steer this mediation in the wrong way. We want to stay positive and really try to come down and just try to communicate and hear each other out. So, Mr. Soto, you were saying?
The lemon tree is 15 years old. The cherry and apple trees, they are 10 years old. So we've had them for a long time through numerous different conditions, and never had a problem until you sprayed the chemicals.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go to the camera. Did you know where the camera was facing when you installed your camera?
We had it faced in a direction that we have multiple cameras actually,
Okay.
and all of them mysteriously have stopped working.
Mm-hmm.
But that one in particular I know was knocked down, and we had them facing all different directions just because my father was worried about security issues.
Okay.
He's getting up there in age, and he can't.
Right.
I'm not always around, and so it's good to have that extra protection there. And we did not intend to invade privacy. We would have been happy to do something about it if he had told us.
So it sounds like a miscommunication. Let's just take that part of our problem right now. So it sounds like it was a miscommunication that you felt like you were being, your privacy was being invaded because the camera was facing into your bathroom. And you didn't realize that it might have been facing the bathroom. And you took action instead of you, as you recognized, going over and asking them to move the camera. Is this correct? Am I hearing you out?
Yes.
And with the spray, we don't know exactly what could have caused for so much damage to be done, if indeed that happened, with a commercial, weed killer. And you're not asking for monetary.
No, I don't want any money. All I want is what was there to be replaced.
Okay.
Even though like the 9 koi fish that we had, essentially, it's irreplaceable in a meaningful sense, but it would be good to have them replaced because there is that meaning still there. Because the 9 koi fish were given because you give your mother on her birthday as a kid a koi fish. It's representative,
Mm-hmm.
and they were from when she died,
Mm-hmm.
and just having the symbolic koi fish there again would be great, especially for my father, who has become really depressed because of this whole situation.
I see there's a lot of emotion behind this koi fish, and they mean a lot to your family. What is the value you're setting on all the damages?
I'm not putting a personal value on it. All I want is for a landscaper to be hired and for them to fix the issue that has been caused since everything has died. After it's bright. I mean, that's the only thing that could have happened. There's no weird weather that has happened. There's no evidence of any other tampering.
Have you had someone come out and looked at it and see maybe there's a different cause or what could have caused it?
Not yet, but I the only thing I know is that he sprayed chemicals, and
Right.
after that, it just seemed like everything started dying.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mr. Smith,
Yes.
have you thought about at all replacing maybe some of the trees or taking a look at maybe some possibly replacing any of these?
So I know a landscaper since like I said before, I'm dealing with other family issues, so I wouldn't personally want to be here, but I have $500. I know a landscaper. He could probably do a relatively good job with that amount of money. I mean, I could probably buy one fruit tree. I'm sorry for the koi fish. I know it's something representative, like you said. I don't know if I could ever replace that, but I could do my best to replace, just like agriculture stuff. We can at least have, I guess, a beautiful garden again.
Okay. And what are you thinking of Mr. Smith's proposal?
Well, I know the district attorney didn't have anyone come out, but the damages were assessed to around $3,500.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, I'm not interested in that money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want that money. I want just somebody to come out and deal with what has been basically taken, in a way. It's that simple. I just want things to be replaced.
So it seems like Mr. Smith isn't financially capable of maybe replacing everything at once. But what do you think of a slow, long-term, maybe setting deadlines, like by this date maybe another tree needs to be planted, by this date the grass needs to be done, or maybe something like that? What do you guys think?
I just lost my job, so I don't have income coming in, and I still have mortgages and all that stuff to pay too. That's why I'm only offering $500.
Let's see.
That's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
even
Mr. Smith?
so even with the small amount, it may not be exactly what you had, and the KoiFish, really had that deep meaning for you. So maybe not replacing them right away would be something that he can't do. But what do you think about just maybe the one tree, like he said, or having his landscaper friend come out and take a look?
Well, if his landscaper could come out and do something more, that'd be great. But it's a matter of getting things replaced, and I just, it's not only just for me, it's for my father.
Mm-hmm.
He's up there in age. It's tough for him to deal with this situation. And I want to give him some peace.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are we gonna do? Mediators.
We're gonna take a break real quick, and then we're gonna come back with an idea.
Okay. One of you guys has to give.
You got it?
Did I?